Hello, I am the Phantom Safety Pin, and today is a very special episode. You know, guys, I love YouTube. I've been on YouTube in multiple forms almost from its beginnings, from 2006 or so, when I was a wee baby internet user. I've seen a lot of changes overcome the site since then, some great and many not so great. I remember the old classic YouTube style. I even remember the rating stars. Who the hell watching this right now is even old enough to remember the 5-star rating system anymore? YouTube, then, was a wild frontier. It was a big deal, a huge open place where anyone could put up anything, and everyone could be whoever they wanted to be. Of course, back then I used a different name, the details of which are sadly lost to time. Back then I used YouTube mainly for making YouTube poops and shitty FMVs of movies and games I liked. I've moved on from that now, but the lessons I learned in doing that have helped me get to where I am as a Let's Player today. The animated intros, the editing that goes into each video I upload, it's all thanks to those several hundred videos I worked on, videos which sadly now no longer exist. There's a reason they don't. Back in 2008 or so, I was maybe 17 and kinda stupid, and I made the mistake of rattling the wretched hive that was 4chan. They proceeded to engage in a campaign of online harassment, as they do, posting my name, my email address, and a good chunk of my personal information. Basically, doxing before doxing was cool. As someone who was barely an adult and hadn't even gotten her own shit together, it was a very difficult time for me. Yeah, I was kind of a messed up kid. The very last thing these bored griefers decided to do was take down my YouTube channel, which they proceeded to do by submitting false copyright claims on all of my videos, in order to get YouTube to shut my account down. They succeeded, and I was forced to make a new account, the Phantom Safety Pin. Flash forward several years later, and here I am, making Let's Play videos for all you lovely folks watching. I've learned a lot since then, and the community here has been awesome in helping me get to where I am now, even though it's still a long way off before I'm, top tier. Why do I bring all this up now? Because it's happening again. It's happening not just to me, but to everyone on YouTube who creates, who Let's Plays, who comments and critiques. It's even happening to some big names on YouTube, Markiplier, Channel Awesome, Jacksepticeye, and many, many more. It's been going on for years, and as someone who has dealt with it before, I'm taking a stand and saying, I've had enough. The problem I'm talking about here isn't some troll over on 4chan or some other site, no, it's way more serious than that. The problem here is the broken copyright claim system on YouTube, and the bullying corporations that take advantage of it for their own personal gain. Let's back up here a bit so I don't sound like some kind of tinfoil hat-wearing lunatic, okay? Now, I'm not entirely sure about other countries, but in the United States there's a law in the books called the Fair Use Doctrine. What it says is that, while it's not okay to post things that aren't yours, you can use parts of things that aren't yours as long as it's for one of the following reasons. 1. The work is used for educational, informational, or for other non-profit and transformative purposes, such as artwork. 2. The work used has not been previously published, or is non-fictional, public domain, open source, or factual information. 3. The overall point or heart of the work isn't being abused or compromised by your use of it. Or 4. The work is not being used in a way that damages the work's actual marketability or value. If it follows these guidelines, you're safe. The more they follow, the better. Some common examples of things that are considered fair use include scientific research, teaching, education, critique, commentary, satire, and demonstrative purposes. So, under fair use, using the Harry Potter series in your book report or film review is totally fine, but passing Harry Potter off as your own creation, or rewriting it verbatim with your own characters and changing nothing else, isn't. Fanfiction, fan art, and spin-off ideas are all covered under this doctrine as well, and of course anything public domain such as Cthulhu or Sherlock Holmes is considered fair game for anyone to use as they see fit. Considering that the nature of artwork, regardless of the format it's in, is to be transformative in order to entertain or get a point across, it makes sense to assume that videos on YouTube which critique, examine, play through, and comment on video games also fall under the fair use doctrine. According to the written law in the United States, that means my Let's Play videos are fair use, due to the very nature of what a Let's Play is. They don't damage, overtake, or otherwise cause any harm to the developers. In fact, sometimes they help less-known developers, and I'm not using them for my own advantage. I am using them, however, for a transformative purpose, entertainment. My playthrough of Pokemon Red, for example, is not damaging Nintendo's brand name, cannot be mistaken for the full game since it's only a playthrough of that game, and is being used in a way that is artistic and informational. By these same rules, any songs or footage I use in my videos are being used in a fair use manner, since I'm using them to make a point or enhance a joke, not to turn a profit or drive the original out of its market. If, for example, I use the song Far From Any Road in a video parodying True Detective, that's completely okay by law, and it's equally okay for me to use Europe's The Final Countdown as a joke during the finale of a game like I did in my Riven playthrough. Free speech at its finest and most American, right? Sadly, big companies like Viacom, Universal, and Warner Brothers don't quite see it that way. To them, if you're using any part of something they own the rights to, it's still theirs and you shouldn't be using it, even if the law protects your usage of it. If the company that owns HBO doesn't like that I'm using bits from True Detective, the company that owns the theme song, the rights to the show, and more will ding me for it faster than you can say, "Time is a flat circle." Of course, there's nothing wrong with this in theory. Companies and creators alike have every right to protect their intellectual property. If H.P. Lovecraft heard that you as an author were abusing Nyarlathotep, his creation, the law would let him claw out of his grave, drag you to court, and sue you for the misuse of his property. And he'd be complete within legal bounds if he did. But that would probably never happen because he's dead. But if you ever did, reanimate, start running, maybe aim for the head and double tap to be sure. Of course, since everyone has a right to keep their intellectual property safe, it was no big surprise when, in 2008, Viacom hit YouTube hard over the site having entire clips of shows like SpongeBob SquarePants, Invader Zim, and other cartoons in full on the site, not to mention movies, despite the fact that a good chunk of those clips were uploaded by Viacom-owned companies in the first place. Regardless of whether or not they were in the right, Viacom was majorly pissed, and was more than ready to take YouTube to court over it. YouTube, who at this point was owned by Google, acquiesced, realizing that despite Viacom being a huge crybaby over it, they had a valid point. There was indeed a huge problem with people uploading content that wasn't theirs to upload, and with copyright infringement and piracy in general. To fix the problem, they proposed a new copyright system, which coaxed Viacom into dropping the lawsuit. The system has stayed the same to this day, and it works like this. If you see content that belongs to you uploaded by somebody else without your permission, you can either manually claim it or add your content to the copyright ID system, which automatically claims the material if a certain amount of your material is used. You get to decide how much of the material can be used before that claim happens. If a user gets a copyright claim, they can either acknowledge the material is not theirs and let the company that claimed it get the ad revenue from it, or they can appeal the claim by sending YouTube a counterclaim. From this point, the company who gave the original claim has 30 business days to decide whether or not the claim is valid, and if so, they can reinstate the claim, get the video yanked, or sue the user for unfair use of copyrighted material. The user can then reappeal any reinstated claim, and if so, the claimant gets another 30 business days to decide if the claim really still is valid. During this time, the video will remain down. If the claim isn't valid, and the 30-day period is up for either the claim or reinstated claim, the video goes back up. You can also issue a takedown notice, an actual legal document, if you feel the content is really infringing badly on your copyright. When a takedown notice is issued, YouTube yanks the video permanently and notifies the uploader of what happened. That user also ends up with a strike on their account, which is a serious punishment, since it limits what the user can and cannot do with uploaded content. One strike generally means the user has to watch a copyright school video, read the policies on YouTube about copyright, cannot monetize videos, and cannot upload videos longer than 15 minutes. 2 strikes restricts the user's abilities even more, and at 3 strikes, the user's account is terminated. Gone. Their channel is no more, and all of their videos are simply deleted. Generally, strikes disappear within 6 months if the user doesn't do anything else wrong to get another one. In theory, this is a great idea, but there's a huge flaw in it. Even 1 strike on a user's account means that a user cannot appeal any claims made against their account for 6 months, which is why this system can easily be abused. False claims can and do happen all the time. It recently happened to Channel Awesome, home of the Nostalgia Critic, and it's happened to Markiplier, an extremely popular Let's Player and someone I personally look up to quite a bit. The really scary part about this is, there's absolutely no punishment for people who make false claims, and just like with what happened to me and the trolls that took my first channel down, companies can throw false claims at people to get channels taken down, just because they don't like what someone had to say about their material. Total Biscuit is one such person who had this happen to him. Search up Total Biscuit Day 1 Gary's Incident for more about this incident. Now, he eventually did get an apology from the developers of the game and did get the video reinstated, but the threat is still real. In fact, the threat of this happening to people is so great it can, and has, been used to silence people who have submitted negative reviews of other material. If that's not an Orwellian scenario, I don't know what is. Claimants even outsource their claims to third-party companies. This has happened to me many times, and continues to happen to me no matter how fairly I use the content being claimed. It's not at all uncommon for a video to get claimed for just the music alone, and have it be claimed by 5 different companies, several of which are third-party outsourced companies created solely for that purpose. Seriously, look at this clusterfuck on one of my videos. Who the hell is this guy? Or this one? I know these people, but who are these random jokers claiming content that isn't even theirs, because I've never heard of them, so how could it be theirs when it's somebody else's? Now, I don't monetize my videos, so I'm not as affected by some of these problems, but there's a huge reason I don't, and that's because there's a form of claim that removes monetization on the claimed video. If you don't dispute the claim, the claimant gets all the money, and you're left with nothing. As if that's not bad enough, people who monetize their videos get no ad revenue from any stricken, claimed, or removed videos at all until any copyright claims on them are cleared up. And if the video goes down totally, that's money down the drain you're never getting back. I don't monetize any of my videos because I'm too scared that if they get claimed, I'll get strikes on my channel and then lose my channel. I am literally too scared of losing all my hard work to profit off of it, and it's stunting my growth as a Let's Player. This is effectively stealing, especially if your work is fair use or you use public domain material like I do. Speaking of the public domain material itself has been claimed unfairly, and I've experienced this issue several times as well. I've had videos that used completely open source and public domain classical music, specifically in the Hall of the Mountain King, Dance Macabre, O Fortuna, and even the instrumental version of the Christmas song Sleigh Ride. Not even a version with lyrics, but one that's performed by an orchestra, and is so commonly performed without royalties that I myself performed it in high school band every winter. Be copyright claimed, just because some company somewhere has a CD with that song on it and wants to make a profit on it. Not only is that wrong, that's illegal. It's to the point I'm so afraid of possibly losing my channel due to this that I actually save every single Let's Play I do on DVD-ROMs and CD-ROMs. I'm not kidding. Look, here is literally a whole stack of all my Let's Plays, from the time I began doing it to now, on CD and DVD-ROM storage in case my channel is unfairly taken down. I wish to sweet, buttery Azathoth I was making this up, but I'm not, and I couldn't even if I tried. I shouldn't have to do this. No creator should have to do this. Creators should feel safe knowing their material, their work is protected, and that the company publishing their material is on their side. I really don't think it's too much to ask for the copyright system created with the intent of protecting creators to actually protect creators, especially since it's currently being used and abused as a weapon, both by large companies and by other creators. But they're not the only ones to blame here. How can we blame only them when we ourselves don't fight back when they make unfair claims? It's not fair, no, but sometimes the only way to stop a bully is to actually fight the bully on their terms. Sometimes it really does take standing up to the bully to make him stop, because he won't learn any other way than by force. Now, obviously I don't mean that you should go find a Viacom employee, push them to the ground, and kick the shit out of them, because that's assault and you'll go to jail and be sad. But you can't let a copyright claim scare you into not taking a stand on the censorship of free speech, because that's exactly what this is. Your right to free speech, your right to create, is being jeopardized by this copyright system abuse, and you have a right to stand up for yourself. This type of abuse is not something you have to take, and you definitely won't be taking it on alone. Countless YouTube users, from the famous to the unknown, are currently banding together to discuss this issue and get YouTube to maybe, finally, actually do something this time about the abuse that's been going on for years now. This isn't an old argument, and sure, YouTube hasn't listened before, but now that bigger names are being struck with this same issue, the shit has really hit the fan. Hell, Channel Awesome's video on fair use and abuse is what inspired me and countless others to make videos just like this one, discussing the maltreatment of creators on YouTube. This issue is not one that's going away anytime soon, and the more it gets ignored, the louder the creators will scream about it. We're not going away, YouTube, and this issue will not be resolved until you take a stand for your users and protect them from the abuses they're dealing with every goddamn day. Now some might say, why bother? YouTube never listens. But here's the thing. Change is happening. Slowly. The Electronic Frontier Foundation, and other organizations like it dedicated to freedom of speech and fair use, has helped countless people fight back against unfair claims. Even YouTube itself has helped some people, and worked with others to broker unfair claims. It used to be that there was no way to challenge a false claim on your account. At all. Now, you can dispute them, and YouTube assumes that when you do, it's because it really was made unfairly. Sure, it's only a little better, but change doesn't happen overnight. Hell, some of the biggest changes in history have been made by someone standing up and saying something about unfair treatment, from social justice issues to simple common sense. Time and again throughout history, slow and eventual progress is shown to be the only way that change is made, and it all started with someone standing up and questioning the status quo. That is exactly what we need to do here as creators, on YouTube and everywhere on the internet. If we don't, things will never change, and we're going to continue to see the same cycle of abuse of our freedom of speech. We deserve better. This isn't working, YouTube. Fix it. This has been the Phantom Safety Pin, and I only have one more thing to say before I sign off. YouTube, where's the fair use?